We're ABC 7 on your side.
Tonight, the deadly train crash, more than 100 members of Congress on board. Just hours after the president's State of the Union, Republicans on the train, including the Speaker of the House, slamming into a truck. One killed, several injured. Images from the scene. Also breaking tonight, the FBI urging the White House tonight not to release a secret memo reportedly critical of the agency. The FBI citing grave concerns. And this moment, audio of the president late last night, what he said about releasing that memo. The deadly flu, and tonight the new concern here over the supply of that rapid test used to diagnose patients. And tonight, word of a young mother of 4 from New Hampshire, one of the newest victims. The arrest, a student at Virginia Tech. Authorities say he had an assault rifle and was trying to get thousands of rounds of ammunition. What else he was looking for. The drowning danger. Tonight, Americans on vacation. 9 drownings in less than 2 weeks in the same area. And the deadly crash, the former NBA player and a former American Idol contestant who did not survive.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night. And we begin with that deadly train collision. On board, more than 100 Republican members of Congress. That Amtrak train was taking those lawmakers to a retreat, colliding with a garbage truck in Virginia. It happened this morning, not long after the State of the Union last night. The driver of the truck was killed. Several lawmakers jumping in to help many of the injured on the scene. And several people tonight, including Congressman Jason Lewis, were taken to the hospital. House Speaker Paul Ryan among those on board, and ABC's Lindsay Janis leads us off from the scene tonight.
A train packed with dozens of lawmakers, their staffers and families on their way to a retreat today, slamming into a truck in rural Virginia, leaving one person dead.
All of a sudden we had a big jolt, didn't know what we hit, knocked several people down.
And then the next thing I realized is that we were slowing down significantly and coming to a stop. And that's when we all knew we hit something.
Their train was heading from Washington to West Virginia when the accident occurred at 11:15 this morning.
Mass casualty incident, level 1, train versus truck.
The impact obliterating the truck, sending debris flying, smashing in the front of the train.
See how it's stripped it?
North Carolina Representative Mark Walker capturing the carnage through the train window. Lawmakers with medical experience springing into action, rushing to get to the 3 men who were in the truck.
We took rotating turns on CPR on the one gentleman.
We tried shocking him and just never could get him back, I'm afraid.
Senators Jeff Flake and Bill Cassidy helping carry this wounded passenger away on a stretcher. 5 people, including Minnesota Congressman Jason Lewis, who suffered a concussion, were sent to the hospital for evaluation. One in critical condition tonight.
You can see investigators sifting through the wreckage of that garbage truck. And if you look in the distance, about a quarter mile in front of where the collision happened, you can see where the train finally came to a stop.
Those investigators now looking into why that garbage truck was on the tracks. The NTSB sending a GO team to the site.
And Lindsay Janis with us live tonight from the scene of that crash. And Lindsay, those lawmakers eventually did make it to the retreat. And we learned a short time ago the congressman who suffered a concussion has now joined them.
That's right, David. That retreat has now begun. Congressman Lewis was discharged from the hospital and has now joined his fellow lawmakers at the retreat. Of course, most of the injured, including the person who died, the man who died, were in that truck. Just a devastating scene here behind me. Investigators still here now. David.
All right, Lindsay Janis leading us off tonight. Thank you, Lindsay. Now to the other breaking headline from Washington at this hour, the brewing showdown between the president and his new FBI director, his hand-picked director, now urging the president not to release a secret memo reportedly critical of the FBI written by Republicans in the House. The president was overheard leaving the State of the Union last night, telling a lawmaker he, quote, 100% plans to release the memo. The FBI tonight saying it has grave concerns about the accuracy of the memo. And here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
It's a showdown between the president and the man he chose to lead the FBI. At issue, the controversial classified memo accusing the Justice Department of political bias. As he left the State of the Union address last night, the president was caught on camera telling a Republican congressman that he'd allow the memo to be made public.
Let's release the memo. Oh, yeah. Don't worry. 100%.
This morning, Chief of Staff John Kelly told Fox News it will happen soon.
Did you see it?
I did.
What do you think?
It'll be released here pretty quick, I think, and the whole world can see it.
Hours later, the FBI issued an extraordinary statement directly challenging the president and his chief of staff, saying the FBI had been given only a limited chance to review the memo and, quote, "We have grave concerns about material omissions of fact that fundamentally impact the memo's accuracy." The memo was written by Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee, chaired by California Republican Devin Nunes, a close ally of President Trump. Sources briefed on the memo tell ABC News it accuses the Justice Department of acting inappropriately when it obtained a surveillance warrant for a former Trump campaign advisor suspected of being a Russian agent.
There may have been malfeasance by people at the FBI.
But Democrats on the Intelligence Committee say the Republican memo is misleading because it cherry-picks the facts. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and FBI Director Christopher Wray met with Chief of Staff Kelly at the White House earlier this week to urge that the memo not be released. It's highly unusual for the FBI to publicly contradict the White House, but Wray made it clear in his confirmation hearing that he is willing to stand up to the president.
That you have to be willing to quit or be fired at a moment's notice in order to stand up for what you think is right.
All right, so let's get to John Karl. He's live at the White House tonight. And John, we know that President Trump fired, of course, former FBI Director James Comey. He then handpicked the new director, Christopher Wray. And now this battle between the president and his new director, all this playing out in public. How is this good for the president to be at odds with an FBI director all over again?
It's not good, David. And people close to the president take Wray at his word when it comes to what you heard him say at his confirmation hearing about being willing to resign. Now, there is no indication that Wray would resign in this case, but the possibility of losing 2 FBI directors in the course of 1 year, that would be troubling for the morale at the FBI. It would be politically devastating, and it would be unprecedented.
All right, John Karl with us again tonight. John, thank you. And as you know, one more developing headline right now involving the president. The man who Robert Mueller reports to, Deputy AG Rod Rosenstein. And now comes word tonight that President Trump allegedly asked Rosenstein, "Are you on my team?" ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas from Washington.
The president has been accused of demanding loyalty before. Has he done it again? This time with the man in charge of Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Mueller reports to Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein because Jeff Sessions recused himself from the Russia investigation. And now a source telling ABC News, during a meeting just weeks ago, the president asked Rosenstein if he was on his team, and allegedly also wanted to know about the direction of the Russia probe. Questions that seemed to surprise Rosenstein. Within days of that meeting, Rosenstein defended the special counsel in front of the American people.
Have you seen good cause to fire Special Counsel Mueller?
No. Critics say President Trump's question to Rosenstein, "Are you on my team?" is part of a pattern. Former FBI Director James Comey claims the president told him, "I need loyalty. I expect loyalty."
He asked specifically of loyalty in the context of asking me to stay.
And just last week, the president allegedly asked former FBI Acting Director Andrew McCabe who he voted for.
Did you ask McCabe who he voted for? Did you ask him that?
I don't think so.
No, you didn't.
No, I don't think I did.
You did not.
I don't know what's the big deal with that.
Pierre Thomas with us tonight. And obviously, Pierre, we know McCabe abruptly stepping aside as Deputy FBI Director just this week.
David, McCabe's departure was another sign of the mounting tension between the White House and the Justice Department. People inside the FBI and Justice Department are waiting to see how the president responds to these new bombshells. The question tonight, how long can this tension continue? David?
Pierre Thomas with us as well tonight. Next this evening, new concerns over the deadly flu epidemic. Doctors in the Northeast say those rapid flu tests that help diagnose quickly are now in short supply as well. And in New Hampshire tonight, a mother of 4 dying of flu complications. She had decided against taking antiviral medication that doctors say often helps shorten the duration and severity of the symptoms. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis on this again tonight.
Hospitals and clinics across the country now trying to stave off what officials are calling one of the worst flu seasons in nearly a decade with the best defense possible, free flu shots. In New York,
would you characterize it as a severe flu season?
Yeah, it's severe now. It's certainly severe now.
Nearly 8,000 confirmed cases of the flu last week in New York State, close to 2,000 patients hospitalized. This doctor tells us those rapid tests used to quickly diagnose the flu are in short supply in the New York area.
Most urgent care centers don't have them, and the major suppliers can't provide them right now.
I'm just feeling exhausted, you know. I still got achy pains right now.
Ronald Townsend was just diagnosed with the flu today.
I took the flu shot this year, and I caught the flu.
One of the latest victims, 38-year-old Amanda King, a mother of 4 from New Hampshire.
She was just getting rest and fluids and doing everything that she thought was right.
Her family says she didn't take antiviral medication because she was worried about side effects. 2 days later, she got sicker. She died on the way to the hospital.
This has been such a horrific flu season. Lindsay with us again tonight. We know doctors recommend those antiviral drugs, Tamiflu, to lessen the symptoms of the flu. And Lindsay, I wanted to get back to that patient you mentioned there today who had a flu shot, still got the flu. Doctors have also told us that even if you have the shot and still get it, that the vaccine often helps knock down the severity of the flu once you do get it.
That's correct, David. Doctors say that even when you get the flu shot, if it doesn't prevent the flu, it can still lessen the severity of the flu and keep you out of the hospital. David.
All right, Lindsay Davis with us tonight. Next this evening, the developing story on the campus of Virginia Tech. Authorities arresting a freshman for alleged possession of an assault rifle and trying to buy 5,000 rounds of ammunition. That school, of course, was the scene of a mass shooting in 2007 when 32 people were killed. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami with what we're now learning.
This is the 19-year-old freshman at Virginia Tech who's in jail tonight. Yun Zong Sao is from China, and because he's not a U.S. citizen, it's against the law in Virginia for him to own the assault rifle police say he was training with at this shooting range last Friday.
That is really scary, but in the end, that's why we had the police.
Detectives say they've been watching him for weeks and were called when he removed a teen from his student gun locker. Police say that him using that rifle with a large clip is what breaks the law.
Thank God that the police were able to find him and everything, but as personal reaction, it was just kind of overwhelming just thinking back to what happened several years ago and just that actually could be another reality.
Campus police report that Zhao not only had a rifle, but say he was also trying to buy 5,000 rounds of ammo, was looking into bulletproof vests, and had bought himself an old police vehicle that still has the markings and a police push bumper. His attorney tonight says there was never any threat to the community, and in statements, both the university and campus police say the same. Students are much more concerned.
Students deserve to know these kind of things on campus because we're the ones who live here.
Zhao has a bond hearing tomorrow. He has not yet entered a plea. David?
Steve, thank you. The State of the Union address now behind him. President Trump now faces a second looming deadline to avoid another government shutdown, and along with it, the battle over immigration reform. Democrats with what has been described as a mostly silent protest during the State of the Union last night. Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi there. The White House today saying that Pelosi should smile more often. But she wasn't when she heard the president say, quote, "Americans are dreamers too," a direct reference to the battle over the so-called dreamers. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega tonight.
Not known for bridging the divide, tonight President Trump's push for bipartisan unity falling flat with Democrats.
I call upon all of us to set aside our differences, to seek out common ground, and to summon the unity we need to deliver for the people.
On one side of the aisle, applause. On the other, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi saying it all without actually uttering a single word. The White House press secretary today had some advice.
I think she should smile a lot more often. I think the country would be better for it.
Democrats were hardly smiling when President Trump turned to immigration, the deadline to save the dreamers fast approaching. President Trump's offer, in exchange for his border wall and tough new restrictions on legal immigration, a path to citizenship for nearly 2 million of those undocumented immigrants brought to the country as children. But that olive branch to dreamers followed by this.
Americans are dreamers too.
His misleading claim about legal family migration then met with boos.
Under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives. Under our plan, we focus on the immediate family by limiting sponsorships to spouses and minor children.
Citizens and green card holders can petition to bring their relatives, but entry is not automatic or unlimited.
Cecilia Vega with that fact check for us tonight.